thing that I feared and I heard horror stories about is every port of call where you go on an excursion, you're going to get money,
Right.
money all the time. And so I applaud
Yep.
you for that. That's huge, a huge worry of people, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just going to say that Kathmandu, it has its touristy areas, and the temples that you're referring to, when you're, all the people that live there, they know that the tourists are going to come to the temples. So they set up outside the temples. Sometimes they set up in the temples. So when you go into these things, you will be approached by people that want to sell you things. It was fairly rare that we were approached by people that just wanted money. That's, were like begging for money, but you'll get a lot of people that'll come up and offer to sell you something.
We call that Disney here in Orlando.
Right.
We do call that Disney.
Right.
Yeah.
What you do is you be polite and friendly to people, but you be firm, and you say no, and you move on, and you do never give money to anybody, because if you do, it'll literally create a little riot, of people that are, and you'll find kids more than often, more likely than not, it's going to be kids that are going to ask for money. And, you just have to look at them and smile and say, and you will experience incredible poverty in Kathmandu like nothing you've ever seen. And it's heartbreaking. You just have to pray for those people and just move on, because there's nothing that you're going to be able to do for them that's going to get them out of that situation. We like that, if nothing else, we're helping to provide a little bit of income to the Nepali economy by sending people over there to experience. And, it's not just Mount Everest, but Kathmandu is an amazing city. It is just the coolest thing ever. And the people in general are wonderful, and they're so nice, and they're so welcoming and friendly, helpful. I can't say enough about it. I never felt threatened in any way. And I'm also like twice as big as most of the people over there. So I doubt that anybody was going to.
Yeah. Well, see, I'm not. I would fit right in. I may like to go. I'm 5'6", so I would fit right in.
Right. Well, you would fit in better than me, sure. So
I may move to Kathmandu.
Right.
Actually move there.
And I'll not to get ahead, but I'll tell you that the tea houses over there were definitely not built for me.
Oh,
I was hunched over most of the time that I was walking through the hallways.
That's great. So when you leave Kathmandu, you go to the airport, you fly to Lukla, which is, I think, specifically named the most dangerous airport in the world. It's like built on the runway itself is built on the side of a mountain. Is it?
Yep.
I mean, I've watched the videos, and like you've said throughout your audiobook that I've listened to, and I really appreciate you being the reader of the book. I do several Audible books, and they're very hard to listen to when it's not the people that are actually
wrote it.
The book's about or whatever. Yeah, they wrote it. You describe like seeing the valley and everything. So, but the airport specifically, is it as scary as you thought it was going to be, or is it? I mean,
No, it wasn't for us. We flew out on a day that was just absolutely picture perfect. The weather was fantastic. We had no turbulence. Just so that your listeners know, when you fly into Kathmandu, you can see the Himalayas off in the distance to the north. And, but the Kathmandu Valley is just a big flat open place. So, but when you fly from Kathmandu to Lukla, which is about a 45-minute flight, you are flying into the Himalayas, and you're on a plane that is made specifically for that flight. You're flying with mountaintops that are way above you when you're getting in there. So that's something that I never really experienced before. You would experience that with a helicopter, but not with a plane. All of us that plane was just our team. And we were all oohing and eyeing awing and flipping out the whole time. It was one of my favorite parts of the whole trip was that flight. And when we landed, I mean, it's a little freaky. The thing that makes it freaky is that the end of the runway is a cliff. It's not like a runway where there's a big grassy area that you pass over before your wheels hit the pavement. It's a cliff. The plane has to land right after it passes over that cliff edge, because it doesn't have a lot of distance to slow down. And the other part of it is there's no touch and go. That's what makes it.
It's like the side. It's like the side of the mountain. There's only one way in.
There's one way in,
one way out. Right.
All right. You can't decide that you want to do it again and take off again, because the runway ends in the side of a mountain.
Wow.
All that said, the pilots are highly trained, and they've got to go through a big process to get certified to do it. And that's the only thing they do all day long, as they go back and forth from Lukla to Kathmandu. They're skilled people. The reason, I guess, that it's called the most dangerous airport in the world is just because it is, compared to other typical airports, it's pretty extreme. But there have been crashes, but not all that many. There's been a few.
Right. Margin of error, I guess,
right,
is a little different than landing at, say, at Orlando or somewhere else. I know going into San Francisco, you fly over the bay and land, the runways at the end. That's the one I think about a lot of times, right there. Mm-hmm. So one thing that surprised me when you guys landed in Lukla, you got your stuff and you were gone. Y'all had tea and y'all left. I mean,
yep.
I'm thinking you get there, you get a hotel or you settle in for the day, you look around a little bit, but you guys had your backpacks on and were gone.
Yeah, the day starts early. Usually you're going to be up before 5 o'clock at Kathmandu. So if you can get the first flight, one of the first flights in the morning, then you're going to have plenty of time to get there and take off and get to your first village. One of the advantages for us is that our network of Sherpas is very well connected in both Kathmandu and on the trail. We usually can get the best flights because we have our guys have the contacts to make it happen. Okay. But you're right. You land in Lukla. We take about an hour to set up, get ready, to get last minute snacks and sunscreen and things like that. And to meet, if you're with a big team, that's where you'll meet your additional Sherpas and your yak man. So the guy that is actually handling the yaks that will be carrying the heavy stuff. That's where you're going to meet everybody, and then you're going to take off. It's pretty swell. I tell you, it's pretty exciting. If you go to our YouTube channel, there's video of us leaving. I mean, I had my phone on, my camera, my GoPro was filming from when we walked out of that tea house and took our first steps onto the trail. And we were pretty pumped.
Is that the GoPro that you just had put on a brand new on the gimbal and had left in the hotel?
Yep.
And
yeah,
that's me.
Oh my gosh!
You're gonna think I'm a freak because I remember details. But your Life Straw water bottle, I was gonna ask you if you ever think about what happened to that. Yeah, you never
got another one.
Brand new one.
Somebody got a $40 brand new Life Straw bottle, brand new. I was so ticked off, man. And it's still. Thanks for reminding me, Kenny.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that during this conversation that I brought that up because you said in the book that it still bothers you. So I just wanted to.
Right.
I didn't want that memory to die.
Right.
So.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah. So as you move up the valley, of course, you're moving higher elevation the entire time, and you go through numerous villages. And I don't remember the names of all of them, but I do remember Namche Bazaar. That's what you pronounce it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so I told you I'm an Everest freak. So I've listened to several books on back. I almost said books on tape, and I guess that's not 2020-ish anymore. They're not on tape anymore, but audio books. And one of the ones I finished recently was about the 1953 trek of the British when Edmund Hillary and Tenzing actually went, summited Mount Everest. And So Namche Bazaar was like a huge center for all those operations from the Swiss and the English. So it's a pretty big place, I guess.
Yeah, it's the Sherpa capital. I don't know if it's
okay.
If they officially have a capital, but it's referred to as the Sherpa capital. And it's not only a village, and it's not only a big village, but it's an amazing village. I would encourage anybody that's listening to go Google Namche Bazaar. Bazaar as in like a place where you buy things. BA instead of BI. It's built it's a cone shape valley that's kind of been, I don't even know exactly how to describe it. It's when you enter Namche Bazaar, you're entering from the low end of it. And then you're looking up, and it's a bowl shape. That's what I was trying to say. You're looking up at a bowl shape valley that's in the side of a mountain, and spread out all through this bowl are buildings, and they're brightly colored buildings, a lot of blues and greens. And most all of those are tea houses or restaurants or shops and residences. It's all above you. It's way up high above you. And it's unlike anything you've ever seen. The whole place is terraced. So the only way that they can survive, both with their farming and their building of villages, is to terrace these hillsides so that they've got flat places to build structures on. For anybody that goes, I'll warn you that's the second day. And by the time you get to Namche Bazaar, you are going to be a wiped out person. That is one of the longest and toughest treks of the entire trip. And when you get to the bottom of it, you're like, yes, we made it. Thank you, Lord. We can sit down now. No, unless your tea house is one of the first tea houses right there, you've got to walk up you're hoofing up through the town on a staircase that takes you from top to bottom. I don't know how long. It probably took us 25 minutes to walk from the entrance of Namche to get to our tea house up that staircase. So it's
you mentioned in your book that most of the tea houses that you had on your trek were always at the far end of the town.
It makes it a little tough. Yeah.
Well, I guess that's the advantage in the next morning, right? You're already through the town, but yeah, at the end of the day, that makes it tough. Jessica she likes to take the stairs everywhere we go instead of the elevator, and we'll drive down to Key West, 6.5 hours from here. We're in the car. We'll get to the hotel, 4 stories, and she's like, "You want to take the stairs?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me?
Right.
I want to take the stairs? No, I want you to put me on that luggage car and take me to the room on the first floor. I don't want to walk anymore."
One thing that I didn't anticipate was the amount of steps and stairs. And it's not just in the villages. It's very crude stairs and steps are built with stone all along the trail to base camp. So you're stepping up using crude staircases a lot. So if I would have known that before we went the first time, I would have spent more time on a Stairmaster. That'd be a great way to train, or going to athletic stadiums and just running or walking stairs. That's the way to do it.
I had read or listened to somebody talking about going to do the Everest Base Camp, and they said that if you really want to prepare yourself, go to a hospital or an office building that has a 4 or 5 story parking garage, and park at the top, and then run the stairs. Even if you walk them, because you're not going to, even with that, you're probably not going to prepare yourself for what you're going to have to endure on this trip. So you leave Luca on day 2, and then it's another 2 days before you get there, right? You spend the night somewhere, and then you end up at Namche, and then in Namche Bazaar, you guys do 2 or 3 days there for acclimatization.
We do. We've changed that recently to add a second day at Namche. So what'll happen is you'll get there one day, and you'll just relax once you get there. The next day you'll do a training hike way up above the village, and you'll go do some cool things. You'll come back. The next day you'll do the same thing. You won't necessarily go to the same place, but you'll take another training hike, come back and sleep, and then the third day from that you'll take off. So Namche is at just below 12,000 feet. 12,000 is generally the area where you need to start your acclimatization process, which